Welcome to the Money Answer Show with host Jordan Goodman. Whether you are starting out, deep into your retirement, or somewhere in between, the Money Answer Show has the know-how to help you. Now here's your host, Jordan Goodman.
Welcome to the Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Lance Edwards. He is the CEO of First Cornerstone Group. He's an expert in real estate investing, and he's done a book called How to Make Big Money in Small Apartments. He runs webinars and seminars on exactly that topic. Welcome to the Money Answer Show, Lance.
Well, Jordan, thank you so much. It's a real privilege, honor to be here.
So let's just, for people who haven't heard about you before, just kind of give a brief story of how you got into this whole real estate business and how you got to be the person you are today and the kind of the world's expert on investing in small apartments.
Well, sure, Jordan. I mean, go back to about 2002. I was like many people working a full-time job, just had a young family looking for an extra stream of income. And I discovered real estate investing, and the very first seminar I ever took was how to buy houses, nothing down, a real estate course, which is a great course. But my first instructor gave me some advice, which really changed the course of my life. He said, Lance, I made a lot of money doing houses, but I came to realize that to meet my financial goals, I needed to shift to multifamily. Multifamily provides bigger numbers and a shorter time period. And Jordan, that made all the sense in the world to me. So when I came out of that real estate training on how to do houses, I came out looking to get started in small apartments. And the very first property I ever bought was I bought a fourplex. I bought it nothing down, using other people's money, 100% seller financing. And that was my very first deal, which, by the way, is the most critical deal, is going to be the first one. It's also going to be the scariest one because we're not taught this stuff in school. And that got me hooked. And over the next 2.5 years, I did 50 deals. I bought more fourplexes, and I went to 10 units, 50, 56, 85 unit projects, always using OPM, other people's money. And within 3 years of my start, I was able to retire from that job of 20 years and just to pursue real estate full time. That was back in 2005. A couple years later, I was pursued by some colleagues at my real estate club in Houston. And they said, Lance, can you come teach us how you're doing these apartment deals using none of your own money? I said, okay. I had my very first seminar in July of 2007. That launched the training side of my business. Since then, we've taught tens of thousands of people how to get on their own path of financial independence through small apartment investing. But we remain very active on the transaction side. We're doing deals all over the country. And so my passion has come to teaching people how to do what we were not taught in school, how to quickly create financial independence for yourself. And my second passion is deal making. And on occasion, we do deals with our students. And so that's what we do today. And I'm very blessed and fortunate to have best-selling book, How to Make Big Money in Small Apartments. And thanks to the popularity of the book, we've been named multiple years in a row as one of the fastest growing companies, not only in Houston, Texas, by Houston Business Journal, but Inc. magazine recognizes as one of the fastest growing companies nationwide for 3 years in a row. So that's my story. That's what I'm about.
Okay. And actually, I think you have an offer for the listeners of Money Answer Show. They can get a copy of that book. How can they do that?
Sure. I mean, I'd love to give everyone a copy of the book. I'll send you the physical book free. There's a website you can go to. You can just write this down. It's yourdealsmydollars.com/free book. Let me repeat that. It's yourdealsmydollars.com/free book. I'll send you we sell the book for $15. I give it to you for free, and I just ask you pay $6 and change for shipping and handling, and we'll send some other training materials along with it, and it explains everything that we do in this business.
And you also have a webinar that people can get a sense of what it's like online as well. How can they find out about that?
Yeah, we have a webinar. It's called How to Replace Your Job Income with Small Apartments. That's exactly what I did. It lays out the process step by step in that 60-minute webinar training. And if you'd like to sign up for that, that's free. And that's at yourdealsmydollars.com/webinar. yourdealsmydollars.com/webinar.
Very good. So part of what you talk about is the mindset that you need. People are kind of taught in school to be employees and not entrepreneurs. What is the mindset shift that you help people make to allow them to be successful in buying small apartments?
Well, that's a great question, Jordan. And this is what I learned, and this is what I've taught so many of my students nationwide. We were trained. If you look at the school system, and this is not an indictment of the school system, but we are trained to be good workers. We're trained to be good employees. This comes from the industrial age education process. And the mindset of how to be an employee is such that, okay, I need to follow these written instructions, stay within these guidelines, don't dare make a mistake. And if I do these things every couple of weeks, they'll hand me a paycheck. That's the employee mindset. Now, when we step out into business, entrepreneurship, such as real estate investing, there's an entrepreneurial mindset, which is completely different than that, because the entrepreneurial mindset is more about getting comfortable with taking action when we don't necessarily have all the facts, getting comfortable, and many times acting in faith because we don't know how everything's going to work out. If there's no certainty in entrepreneurship, that's one of the reasons it pays so well. There's ways that we follow. There's systems that we follow, but we've got to be able to. Act despite the fear, act despite the fact that maybe I don't feel like acting, and there's a whole mindset about getting comfortable with saying yes and then figuring it out. It's really more important on the entrepreneurial side. If you understand your reason why you're trying to do something, why it's important to have your own business, then that becomes the most important question. The how becomes secondary. And really the entrepreneurial mindset is just charging forward, really going for it, and figuring out along the way what you need to know and what you need to do to get you there. And it's a big mind shift. And it was a big one for me, and it's a big one for anybody getting started. The good news is it's completely learnable, and you have to be aware of it. So thanks to you asking, now people that are aware of it, now you know to deal with it. Because if you're not aware of it, you get these funny feelings. It's just part of the process. We're not taught this in school.
What are some of the whys that work for people to be able to make that mind shift?
Well, I'll share with you mine, just give you an example, then I'll share others. For example, the reason, before I even knew it was real estate, before I knew the answer was real estate, my reason why, you go back to 2002, I had a young daughter, and about 10 years old, very smart, very bright. I knew she would have a lot of choices with some of the finest universities in the country. And my big concern was being able to provide that for her, to be able to pay for her college education. So my reason why became providing for my daughter that college education. Other reasons why you'll hear when I at my seminars, I ask my students this. I had them make sure they get grounded in this, and they'll report to me things like, making sure their spouse doesn't have to work anymore, or creating generational wealth for their kids, or setting a great example for their kids, or taking care of their parents, or some favorite cause with their church or their synagogue or temple, being able to give back. And it's that reason why is most powerful when it's in terms of someone else or some other cause that you wouldn't dare let down. Then you've got emotional power and emotional leverage on really being successful here.
So it's more powerful if you're giving to somebody else, whether it be your relative or an institution like a church or temple, than just having it be for yourself, is what you're saying.
Exactly, because what I say, Jordan, is as human beings, we may not walk across the street to help ourselves, but I know that we will walk across hot coals to take care of someone we care about. And so making in my case, your real estate business about someone else is how you break through this entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah. So you have in your book and your seminars a whole thing, but let's briefly go over why it's better, from your point of view, to do small apartments compared to individual homes. You see a lot of people flipping individual homes, and there's TV shows about it. Everybody thinks flipping individual homes is the best way to go. What are some of the advantages of doing small apartments compared to individual homes?
Oh, wow. Right. So there's quite a few. So let me just rattle some of them off. First of all, it's bigger money for the same effort. You get a bigger return for the same effort. We're dealing generally in higher priced items, so the bigger return for the same effort. There's less competition, far less competition in small apartments than there is in single family, where it's very, very crowded. When you're buying these properties, if you buy a rental house and your tenant moves out, you've gone from 100% occupancy to zero. When you buy a fiveplex and a tenant moves out, you've gone from 100% to 80%. You still have cash flow. So there's less risk in that regard. The other thing about apartments, a really big one, is that we can do deals all over the country sight unseen because it's all based upon, the way we analyze these deals is based upon math, very simple math. We calculate a net operating income and something called a cap rate, and it's sixth grade math. And so we literally are evaluating these deals all over, sight unseen. And the other thing I would say about it is you can scale up. You can scale up. So, my book's How to Make Big Money in Small Apartments. And the reason I emphasize small is because I think it's important from a mindset standpoint for people to start small. If I tell you to start on a duplex versus start on 100 units, that 100 units is going to sound pretty formidable. But, starting on a duplex sounds pretty straightforward. And so I teach people to start small and then scale up, because everything I teach about small apartments equally applies to mid-size and large, so you can scale up. And I would add one more thing, Jordan, is, if you think if someone, for example, made a goal for themselves, I want to buy 10 rental houses, I want to accumulate 10 rental houses. Okay. That means you have to do 10 different transactions, 10 different closings, which means you got to look through lots and lots of different leads. Instead of accumulating 10 houses over a period of time, why not buy one 10-unit apartment building in one transaction? And by the way, the cash flow per door on a 10-unit apartment building will be superior to the cash flow on 10 houses, because apartments are called income-producing properties. They are designed to be cash flow vehicles. Think about it. They have a shared walls and a shared roof and a shared foundation. Their cost per door is far less than it's going to be on a house, and they're made to generate cash flow. Houses are not.
So really, it's the economy of scale that makes the difference, as you're saying.
It's absolutely. Totally economy of scale.
Very good. All right, we're about to go to a break. Just tell people again the websites that they can go to get a free copy of your book and the webinar. Okay, so we got two websites. You want to get my free book? Go to yourdealsmydollars.com/free book. yourdealsmydollars.com/free book. If you'd like to watch my free webinar, How to Replace Your Job Income with Small Apartments, go to yourdealsmydollars.com/webinar. yourdealsmydollars.com/webinar. Very good. We're going to take a break. This is Jordan Goodman of The Money Answer Show. My guest this hour is Lance Edwards. He is the author of the book, How to Make Big Money in Small Apartments. He just gave you the websites you actually get a free copy of the book and attend his webinar. And we'll get into more about how to actually go through the process of assembling a portfolio of small apartments. We'll be back after this.
We're always talking business. Talk to an expert. Call now toll free 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Voice America Business Network.
We've all been there, struggling to keep up with credit card payments, searching for a simpler, safer way out of debt. Well, here it is. Cambridge Credit Counseling is a nonprofit service that has been helping people reduce or eliminate their credit card debt for over 20 years. Most of us have made late payments and even gone over our credit limits. Before we know it, our balances are out of control, and we can barely afford to make the minimum payments. If this sounds familiar and you're ready to take control of your debts, call Cambridge right away at 1-800-897-2200 for a debt-free analysis. Cambridge will work with your creditors and may be able to reduce your interest rates and get you out of debt fast. In fact, Cambridge's typical debt management clients save almost $150 every month on their credit card payments, and they're debt-free in just 50 months. So there is a simpler, safer way out of debt, and it all starts with Cambridge Credit Counseling. Call 1-800-897-2200 for your free debt analysis. Cambridge Credit Counseling is a Massachusetts-based nonprofit agency providing services nationwide. For complete licensing information, visit them online at cambridge-credit.org. Jordan Goodman is an affiliate. He recognizes quality solutions, forming relationships to help improve the lives of his listeners.
Many industries have been revolutionized by technology in the last decade. Books, music, TV, communications, and now it's happening to our money and the way we pay. Tune in to Breaking Banks with Brett King for a look at how technology and customer behavior will bring about more changes in banking in the next 10 years than in the last 200 years. Listen every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific on Voice America Business Channel or on AM 1160 The Voice. You'll never look at your bank account the same again.
We're always talking business. Talk to an expert. Call now, toll free, 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Voice America Business Network.
You've been listening to the Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman. If you have a question for Jordan or his guest, please call us now at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now back to Jordan.
Welcome back to the Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Lance Edwards. He is the CEO of First Cornerstone Group based in Houston. He has a series of seminars and webinars and books. His book is called How to Make Big Money in Small Apartments. Welcome back to the show, Lance.
Well, Jordan, thank you so much. Great to get back and look forward to talking more about my favorite topic.
So I actually went to one of your seminars, and you went through in 3 days a lot of stuff. We're just going to be able to touch on it briefly, but you talk about identifying your perfect markets. What are some of the ways, if somebody who hasn't bought small apartments before, can identify the markets that they want to be buying in?
Well, it's a great question, because first of all, let's talk about the fact that you're not limited to your own backyard. And also, you don't need to be seeing these buildings in order to buy them, or at least to make offers on them. And so that means your marketplace just became the United States or North America or even further. And part of what we teach is how to pick the perfect markets. And the key thing to be looking at, of course, you want to have cash flow markets. You want to, on the presumption that most people on this listening right now are interested in cash flow, then it's about picking those markets that have cash flow. Here's the great news. You pretty much can throw a dart in the United States right now and find cash flow markets. Matter of fact, the cash flow per door has never been higher than it is right now in apartments because interest rates are so low right now. And if there was anything good that came out of the Great Recession, it was the downward pressure and the stimulation through lowering interest rates. So most markets right now across the country have real good cash flow. And the things I teach in regard to this is when someone's going out looking for a market, you're really looking for good job growth, because if there's good job growth, there's more jobs being created. That drives up rental rates, that drives up occupancy, that drives up your cash flow, but it also drives up the value of apartment buildings because apartments are valued based upon their net income. And, so a secondary factor is, besides low interest rates, we're also enjoying a very healthy, robust economy right now, which comes back to the other second point: throw a dart and you're pretty much good to go in most parts of the country. So that's why, I'm so bullish on apartments. That's why now is a great time for anyone to get started. And I'm sure you're going to be addressing some questions here about
Sure.
Where's the money going to come from. But now's a great time all over the country.
There's a lot of markets. I mean, rates are low, but they've been rising. I mean, you have mortgage rates on individual homes that are the highest in about 7 years. How does that change the calculus between people wanting to buy a home and wanting to rent and be able to be willing to pay higher rents as mortgage rates have been rising from historic lows?
Well, that's another thing. That's another thing that's been driving the apartment economics, is because certainly during the recession, when credit all tightened up, fewer people could buy homes, so that created more rental demand, and that spiked apartments as well. At the same time, there's a couple of other factors going on between the demographics of the baby boomers. The baby boomers who are people like me approaching, getting later into their years, and they've accumulated all this stuff, got the big house. Well, they want to simplify their lives, so they're downsizing, and they're actually shifting from having the big house to rental housing. That's the Federal Reserve actually did a report that's predicted to keep going through 2023. So you got the demographic of the baby boomers driving rental demand, and then on the other end, you got the millennials who really have this rental mindset, so to speak. They're not looking to own, they're looking to rent, and that's also driving rental demand. So you've got all of these factors with the demographics of the millennials and the baby boomers. You have the fact that mortgage rates, that credit tightened up with regards to home buying. All of these factors have contributed to why apartments are so hot right now.
And how about on the supply side? If it's a hot market, the natural thing would be lots of apartments would be built to fill that demand. What is the outlook on the rental supply side?
So what you'll see no matter where you live, in most markets, you're probably seeing some construction with apartments going up. So that is going on. And at the same time, though, you got to increase, that's called Class A, that's new properties. The properties we're dealing in is a sector called Class B and Class C properties. These are existing buildings that are, obviously, they don't build any more Class B and Class Cs. So you see the Class A supply increasing for the higher income markets, but these mid-income markets really don't grow at the same rate as the high income sector does. So we have some insulation from all this building that's going on. And that's the other good thing about why we deal with Class B and Class C properties.
Now, in some markets, say San Francisco or Seattle, where it's a really hot market and there's a shortage, is it possible to overpay? I mean, they may not cash flow because you have to pay so much more for them that it doesn't make economic sense as an investment to overpay.
That's correct. Let's talk about it. So, I'm talking about how in most markets you can throw a dart and get cash flow. Here are the exceptions. The exceptions are going to be places like San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, South Florida, around the Miami area, parts of the country where you are, Jordan, and the Northeast, because what people are paying for there, they're paying premiums. I mean, real premiums, more for the land value and the appreciation, more so than the cash flow. And so in those markets, your strategy is to buy property to hang on to, so the values will go up with not very much cash flow. Now, if you're in a situation to do that and you've got the cash reserve to do that, that's your strategy. Most of the people that I'm training are looking for the cash flow. And so that's why the marketplace you're going to be looking for with regards to your cash flows, think of it everywhere except those areas I just discovered, because you throw a dart in there and you've got strong cash flow. And then from then it's a matter of knowing how to set the right price in a property, and that's just simple math, and that's the things we teach in our training programs.
What are some of the tax benefits that people get if they become a full-time landlord in effect and build a portfolio of small apartments?
That's a great question, because here's the good news. Even with the tax laws that changed on the Trump administration, they didn't touch the real estate tax benefits, largely because a lot of senators, get real estate tax benefits, I suppose. But for example, when you own an apartment building, an income-producing piece of real estate, you get something called depreciation tax benefits, which is a paper loss that you can use to offset the amount of taxes you're paying on your job income, for example. Matter of fact, it's possible to own enough rental real estate such that the depreciation benefits will completely wipe out your tax bill for your job income, just because of depreciation. It's a paper loss, depreciation.
There's no limit to the amount of depreciation you can take.
There's no limit. There's one provision to it. I'll share this with everyone. There's one provision. In order to be able to get to have no limits on it, when your CPA does your taxes, you need to declare yourself a real estate professional, which means that you work at least 750 hours per week in your real estate business. So that's 750 hours per year. 750 hours per year. Yeah, or 15 hours per week. So if you're only doing this on a part-time basis, you should be able to check the box on that, and then you have no limits on your depreciation. The other advantage from a tax standpoint, and Jordan, you're very familiar with this, is the rate at which you're taxed on passive income from apartments is far less than the tax rate you're going to pay on your job income, that active income. And so you're paying the lowest tax rate on passive income. You use the depreciation to offset the highest tax rate that you're paying on your job income. And it's a beautiful thing. You should be owning apartments. A lot of people own apartments, for the main benefit being they want to cut their tax rate.
Tax bill. Were there some new things in the tax bill under Trump that made it even more advantageous to do real estate?
Not with regards to apartments. Not really with regards to apartments.
But the main thing is that nothing was lost from the past.
Nothing was lost. It's still there. It's still there.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the big parts you teach is how to get the money, because people say, "Oh, this is all great, but how can I possibly get into this game? I don't have the money to do it." So we have about 3 minutes before the next break, just briefly give us some of the places that people can get the money to do these deals.
All right. I'll tell you what, the time we got, I'll give you the top two right here.
Okay.
So, and this is the number one question people have. How am I going to do it? I don't have the financial means, the credit. How am I going to, I couldn't possibly do this. The fact of the matter is you don't need to use any of your own money. You don't need to use any of your own credit. The two top sources, I'll give it to you right now and go as long as you can allow me. Number one is going to be seller financing. Seller financing. And let me give you the second one while we're at it. The second is private investors with their self-directed IRAs. Now, back to number one, seller financing. This is where we ask the seller, instead of getting paid a lump sum of cash up front, they agree to get paid in monthly installment of payments. They're basically acting like the bank. We're going to give them, they're going to have a mortgage between us and them, and I'm going to make a monthly mortgage payment to them instead of giving them cash up front. And they're protected with a mortgage that if there's a default, they get the property back. It's very, very common in small apartments. And the beautiful thing about seller financing is we get to negotiate our down payment and we get to negotiate the interest rate. So that's a very, very common source. Mm-hmm. The second one I mentioned was private investors, and the number one private investor group for small apartments is self-directed IRA holders. People that have their own individual IRA, it's self-directed per the IRS guidelines, and they can loan money to us out of their individual retirement account, and we just pay their IRA back on a tax-free or tax-deferred basis. And those two combinations right there are really all anyone needs to get started. There's dozens of other techniques, but those two are how I literally got my start and did many, many deals.
So people do not have to have good credit, or they don't have to have money to put down themselves because of this system?
Not at all. Not at all. Matter of fact, my very first deal was 100% seller financed. I didn't put up any credit. I didn't put up any financial statement. I didn't put up any cash. I just made monthly payments to the owner and bought it, nothing down.
Terrific. Before we go to the break, just tell people again how they can get a free copy of the book and watch the webinar.
Okay, so we've got a free book for you, How to Make Big Money in Small Apartments. Go to my website, yourdealsmydollars.com/free book, yourdealsmydollars.com/free book. I'll give you the book for free. Just ask for $6 and change for the shipping and handling. Then I have a webinar called How to Replace Your Job Income with Small Apartments. It lays out step by step. You have your plan developed on that webinar. You want to check that out. It's free. It's yourdealsmydollars.com/webinar, yourdealsmydollars.com/webinar.
Very good. Well, thanks, Lance. We'll be back after this.
Stocks, bonds, investment opportunities, financial news, and talk. We can help. Call us now toll free, 866-472-5790. 866-472-5790. Voice America Business Network.
Do you or someone you love have a life insurance policy that's no longer needed or not affordable? Did you know that you can sell your policy for cash? Your reason for buying life insurance has probably changed. Thousands of Americans turn to life insurance settlements to help sell their policies. They act as your representative, getting the highest market offer for you. You've got nothing to lose by simply inquiring. If you're over 64 with $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may already qualify. Call 877-485-6681 to get your free non-binding appraisal or visit fundinglife.com. Life Insurance Settlements. Discover the true value of your life insurance. 877-485-6681. Jordan Goodman is an affiliate. He recognizes quality solutions, forming relationships to help improve the lives of his listeners.
88% of financially successful people read at least 30 minutes a day. They are hungry for knowledge and learning every chance they get. Blinkist gets you there faster than you could ever imagine. Blinkist is the only app that takes thousands of the best-selling nonfiction books and distills them so you can read or listen to them in under 15 minutes, all on your phone. I like to listen to Blinkist when I commute to my office. The Blinkist library is massive, from timeless classics like The Power of Habit to current bestsellers like 12 Rules for Life. My personal recommendation is to check out Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Right now, for a limited time, Blinkist has a special offer just for our audience. Go to Blinkist.com/moneyanswers to start your free 7-day trial. That's Blinkist, spelled BLINKIST.com/moneyanswers to start your free 7-day trial. You can cancel anytime. Blinkist.com/moneyanswers.
You've been listening to the Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman. If you have a question for Jordan or his guest, please call us now at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now back to Jordan.
Welcome back to the Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Lance Edwards. He's the CEO of First Cornerstone Group based in Houston. He's the author of a book called How to Make Big Money in Small Apartments, and he runs webinars and seminars on exactly that topic. Welcome back to the show, Lance.
Thank you so much, Jordan.
So we've talked about it a little bit. We talked about getting the financing. So let's do the marketing plan. And what are some of the things people need to do to identify deals that are going to make sense?
Well, this is where it all begins, of course, is deal flow, finding the right properties. And I will tell everyone there's 3 primary means that we use to create deal flow. It's number 1 is websites, number 2 is brokers, and number 3 is direct mail. And let me speak to each of these. Websites are websites where there's apartments listed for sale. There's any number of those out there. Some of the larger ones are like LoopNet.com and your MLS, your old-fashioned multiple listing service. People don't even realize that on MLS, they think of it as primarily houses. Well, it is primarily houses, but there's a lot of small apartments there. So you go to those websites and you're finding properties that are already marked for sale. So that's websites. And you do that's for free. The second source is going to be brokers who you speak to. This is both commercial brokers and residential realtors on small apartments. And I should define small apartments are 2 to 30 unit buildings, 2 to 30 unit buildings. And so you contact brokers, and there's a script that we teach that's used to basically ask questions about the listings they have. But you're also looking to develop a relationship with brokers, because brokers don't put every listing they have on a website. Some of them they hold back. It's called their pocket listings. And they save these pocket listings for the people who they have a relationship with. And so we have a process and a scripted process by which we quickly on a first call develop a relationship with a broker so that we can ask for the pocket listings and get on their radar so they're sending us these pocket listings. And I got to share something, Jordan.
Sure.
Recently, one of my seminars, I was interviewing, there was a 12-year-old there. His father had brought his 12-year-old son. He was calling brokers using our script and getting deal flow at 12 years old.
Wow.
And I said to him, listen, Dylan, his name was Dylan. Dylan, what's the secret? He said, well, I just followed the script. I said, aren't you scared? So what are they going to do to me? I'm on the other end of the phone. They can't touch me. and it's perfect attitude from the wisdom from the babes of the lips of a 12-year-old. Okay. But brokers is the source of deal flow. And the third is direct mail. This is where we send letters and postcards to apartment owners asking if they'd like to sell their property. And I'll tell you, direct mail is the secret weapon when it comes to getting the best deal flow, because you're contacting an owner directly. You're one-on-one conversation with an owner. There's no middleman involved. There's no one else around. There's no competition. 95% of the time, the property is not even listed for sale. The owner's been thinking about selling, hasn't taken any action, but receives our letter, receives our postcard, and we get the call. And the most creative deals get negotiated when we're one-on-one with a seller. It's how we get seller finance deals, which is what my office, we largely focus on. That's what I teach.
What kind of response rate would you get to direct mail, just roughly?
Well, the national average on direct mail is 1%. And depending upon which technique we're using, we have letters we use, which get a 3 to 5% response. So you're getting 3 to 5 times. And then I have postcards that we use that get in excess of 10%. I mean, as high as 30%. It varies with the market. So, like I say, the national average is 1. We're getting many multiples of that with our direct mail campaigns.
So these owners, they're not getting flooded with letters and postcards all the time?
No. This is one of the other advantages of direct mail. Very few people do it. Yep. And the reason is it takes some effort, it takes a little bit of money, but it's not a lot. But it takes some effort. You got to put this campaign together, and Whereas everybody's going to websites and combing the websites, very few people are doing direct mail.
Yeah. All right. So then you have them call into a specific number. And what is the next step once you have somebody interested? They haven't been thinking of selling, but now they're kind of curious. What kind of price are you going to offer them? What's the next step once they respond?
Okay. So now they've responded to us. So then there's a little bit of data we got to collect from them. What are their rents? How many units? What's the vacancy? We have to run the math. Like I was mentioning earlier, it's all based upon the math. And we run it through a simple spreadsheet. And then we're in a position to make an offer. And then the next step is the offer process is done through a letter of intent, which is a 1.5-page letter template. And we make the offer to them. Now, my preferred method and what I teach is there's 3 price options with every offer that we make, 3 price options. 2 of them are for seller financing. 2 of the offers are for seller financing. 1 is for cash. The higher price is the seller financing. The lowest price is the cash because we'll pay a higher price to get good terms. So we give them an option, 1 of 3 options. And then from there's a conversation around the advantages of seller financing and how much more money they're going to make with seller financing versus a simple cash out. And so then from there it becomes a negotiation over the price and the terms, and then it proceeds to closing. And when you have seller financing, the closing is very simple because we've eliminated the bank. We can close right away.
Mm-hmm. So you give people scripts because that's something a lot of people have never done before is negotiate the purchase of a small apartment.
Yes, exactly right. Because this is the biggest fear. This is the biggest fear people have is getting on the phone. It was my biggest fear when I was getting started. And so we've scripted all of this. That's why we can have a 12-year-old literally following this process because it's scripted. It's the questions to ask the seller, and we have scripts for agents. We have scripts for sellers. And that's why I can take people with no prior real estate experience and bring them in and teach them the scripts and put them on the phone in my office to create my own deal flow for my own portfolio. And then, of course, we're teaching those scripts to our students who are doing it in their own businesses as well.
Within your company, you help people buy and sell. You have existing people who already own apartment buildings. Do you help other new students buy apartments from your existing students who already own some buildings?
We have all of the above because besides training people how to do the business on their own, we offer a host of done-for-you services. So, for example, we have a telemarketing floor that we will send out postcards or letters on behalf of our students. And when those apartment owners call in, they actually call to my telemarketing floor, and my telemarketers are screening out the sellers on behalf of my student clients who have hired us to do this for them. So they're finding out the sellers who are genuinely interested. They're finding the sellers who say, yes, I'll consider seller financing. So that means our clients, the students, they're only dealing with the sellers who've already raised their hand saying, yes, I'm interested, and yes, I'll do seller financing. So we do a lot of screening that way. And then that's to find sellers, and then we do the same thing to find buyers. We have an extensive buyers list right now that we built up over the years where we market our student properties to our buyers list, and then we also advertise their properties that are for sale on different websites, including my website, and we get new buyers coming in. And then we also have another telemarketing floor that screens out those buyers so that my students are only dealing with the most qualified buyers. And we very much have streamlined the process to make it very simple for someone to get started in the business.
And what is the website that you would refer people to for that?
If they want us, the one that shows our properties for sale, that's
yes.
That one is called smallapartmentdeals.com. Smallapartmentdeals.com. It's got listings all over the country for my students.
Very good. All right. So then there are certain forms, and you give them the forms as far as doing seller financing. They don't have to kind of create the wheel here. Is that right?
No, matter of fact, we've taken it a step further because, this is going out and it's a business. And so it's a system. Besides the scripts, there's software we have that analyzes the deals. There's forms, there's templates. It's all templatized because I'm very much a system guy coming out of my engineering days. That's how I used to design systems. And so we've systematized the entire process so that anyone can follow it. And for example, even on making the offers, there's a letter of intent template, but we've taken another step. We've created software called the offer generator software that now actually calculates the prices, the 3 price options for that particular property, and automatically generates a letter with all the numbers already in there, so that all the student has to do is literally print it out and send it in. So we very much systematized the process.
And does that usually appeal to the seller? I mean, you're going to give them these 3 price offers. Most of the time they go for the higher price that involves seller financing. Is that the way it usually works?
It's a mix. It's a very interesting phenomenon. It's very interesting because let me give you an example, Jordan. I was doing a call one time speaking to an owner. He had a 4-plex for sale in Toledo. And I had said, would you consider seller financing? He said, no, I need to cash out. I said, I understand. I'm going to send you an offer. So that afternoon, we sent him an offer with 3 options, 2 for seller financing, 1 for cash. And the top offer was for 100% seller financing at the highest price. He emailed back the next morning and said, I'll take the 100% seller financing option. That makes more sense to me.
Even though they say they're not interested, they may be interested anyway.
Precisely, because here's the thing. In our offer, this is the key part for everyone listening. In that offer, we show them how much more money they're going to make because there's interest they're going to receive. You know, they're acting as the bank. We show them how much more money they're going to receive over a 5-year period, acting as the bank rather than getting all their cash now. And it's, 20, 25% difference in total return. And of course, that's, educates them. And now they actually start thinking about, well, maybe I should be doing this. And so the secret to getting seller financing is, number 1, you got to ask for it. Then number 2, you have to show the seller how they financially benefit by doing it.
Yeah, very good. Okay, before we go to break, just give them the 2 websites where they can get the free book and the webinar.
Okay, so I've got my book, How to Make Big Money in Small Apartments. I'm going to provide it to you for free. You just pay $6.77 shipping and handling, and that's at yourdealsmydollars.com/free book. Yourdealsmydollars.com/free book, and the book explains everything in detail we're talking about here today with Jordan. And then I have a webinar, How to Replace Your Job Income with Small Apartments. It's a 60-minute webinar that leaves you precisely the plan you need to replace your job income, and that's at yourdealsmydollars.com/webinar. yourdealsmydollars.com/webinar, and it's free.
Very good. My guest this hour is Lance Edwards. He is the CEO of First Cornerstone Group, and he is the author of the book we just talked about, How to Make Big Money in Small Apartments. We'll be back after this.
From the boardroom to you, Voice America Business Network.
Attention heroes, current and former firefighters, law enforcement, military, medical, or educational professionals. Heroes can receive rewards averaging over $2,500 when they buy, sell, or refinance a home. Heroes come first. Along with the Homes for Heroes is the nation's largest hero reward program. Their mission is to provide extraordinary savings to heroes who provide extraordinary services to our nation and its communities every day. Learn how you can purchase a home for no down payment, no closing costs, and get money back at closing. Find out how you can own for less than you may pay for rent. Get your hero rewards at heroescomefirst.com. That's heroes, HEROES, comefirst.com. 888-437-6114. Jordan Goodman is an affiliate. He recognizes quality solutions, forming relationships to help improve the lives of his listeners.
Are you a homeowner tired of making monthly mortgage payments with little progress towards paying down your principal? Does paying off your home in 5 to 7 years without making larger or more frequent payments sound appealing? Paying off your home in full in 5 to 7 years is really possible thanks to Truth and Equity's Mortgage Equity Optimization System, a money management approach that puts your money to work for you 24/7. If you own a home with some equity, have a decent credit score, and verifiable income, you owe it to yourself to learn more about Truth and Equity's program. There's no need to replace your mortgage or refinance in many cases. The system works for new home purchases as well as current mortgages. Your home is your largest investment. Own it outright in 5 to 7 years. Call Truth and Equity 888-262-5540 or visit truthandequity.com 888-262-5540. Jordan Goodman is an affiliate. He recognizes quality solutions, forming relationships to help improve the lives of his listeners.
You've been listening to the Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman. If you have a question for Jordan or his guest, please call us now at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now back to Jordan.
Welcome back to the Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Lance Edwards, CEO at First Cornerstone Group, expert on helping people put together a portfolio of small apartments. Welcome back to the show, Lance.
Thank you, Jordan.
So we've talked about how to find the deals, how to finance them, mostly with seller financing. Now let's talk about if you want to flip these things and not hold on to them for cash flow. Tell us some of the process involved in lining up buyers for a property you just bought.
Sure. Now, let me, as kind of a foundation for this, let me just share with everyone that here's your strategy with small apartments. And I just want to say it and then I'll explain it. It's this. It's flip one, hold one, which means we're going to be creating deal flow. We talked about that in the last segment. You got deals coming across your desk. Your goal is to monetize as many of those as you can. Many of those may be too big or too small or too ugly that you don't want to buy yourself. So you're going to flip them. And I don't mean, it's not like the TV show where you buy a house and fix it up and flip it. We are literally putting them under contract and selling the contract. We're flipping the paper. And it doesn't require any money. You never take title. You just put the purchase contract in place, and I would have a contract that says the buyer is Lance Edwards or assigns. And those two words, or assigns, is what gives me the right to assign my contract to another buyer who's going to pay me a fee. They're going to buy my contract.
This is topically called wholesaling? It's
wholesaling. It's also, yes, it's precisely. Right. Yeah, it's also known as wholesaling. Right. And it's flipping the paper. So you never take title. You're just flipping the paper. You're wholesaling the property. And this is a great way to generate chunks of cash to pay today's bills while you're accumulating doors into your portfolio to get more mailbox money coming in until at some point you'll have enough mailbox money coming in, then you can have a choice whether you want to keep flipping or not. So wholesaling is a great way to generate chunks of cash. We're talking about $10,000 checks and above. I had a transaction.
It's not a brokerage fee. Fee. You're reselling it instantly, in effect. Is that right?
It is. It's an assignment fee. You are selling your contract. You're selling your right to this deal.
At a higher price, the buyer, you say you buy an apartment building for whatever, $300,000.
Yep.
The buyer is buying it for $350,000 or whatever. Is that
correct?
The right word?
Correct. Exactly. So let's say I have a fourplex that I'm going to put under contract for $200,000 to purchase. And I'm going to sell my contract to someone who'll give me $20,000 for the contract. So effectively, they're paying $220,000 for that fourplex.
In effect, you've done the work for them, is the idea.
Correct. I've done the work. I've negotiated the price. I've negotiated the terms. And all they got to do is just take over from there and go close.
Yes.
And you can imagine. And also, when I'm doing seller finance deals, I have a contract with a seller to buy their property on seller financing. And then I sell that property with those finance terms in place to an end buyer, and they pay us very handsomely. Like I said, minimum, 5-figure checks. So that is the process known as wholesaling. You can do it part-time. You can do it all over the country on properties sight unseen. I have a team in my office that does this. We have students all over the country doing this.
Yes.
And so that's the process of wholesaling. Now, where do your buyers come from? Well, I'll tell you right now, for everyone listening, Jordan, all your listeners, is that, first of all, the single largest buying group of small apartments is single-family landlords. These are people who own, 1 or 2 or 3 rental houses. They've been self-managing. They've gotten burned out, and they're looking to, quote, move up into small apartments. That's our biggest buying group. Because with small apartments, you don't self-manage. What you do is you hire professional management companies.
So it's less headaches.
Less headaches. Oh my gosh! I will tell everyone listening, don't even think about self-managing an apartment building because you'll be burned out in 6 months. No, you hire management companies, and because you're dealing in small apartment buildings, there's more revenue being produced, which means you can afford to pay management companies more money, and you can hire good ones.
What is the typical percentage of the management company is going to take, a percentage of the rents that they're going to take for managing it?
It scales. It starts at 10%, Jordan, on a small property, a 2 to 4 unit building. And then it'll go smaller as the number of doors increases. It'll start at 10% and go, we had a 300 unit building, and the management fee on that one was 3.5% of the rents.
So it gets economies of scale.
Economies of scale, precisely. It's economies of scale again. So on your buyers, it's going to be single family landlords, which there's lots of those. But I will also share with you, Jordan, your buyer, just like your property does not have to come from your own backyard, neither does your buyer. For example, I had 2 duplexes in Indiana under contract that we were wholesaling, and we were marketing it online, using my systems, everything we teach. My buyer came out of Switzerland, and the buyer paid me $50,000 for the contract. That was my profit, $50,000 on 2 duplexes, all done over the phone. I never saw the property. I never saw the buyer. We simply wholesaled it. And so I share that story with you because I want everyone to realize how big the opportunity is. You've got the entire United States by which to source properties, and now you've got, planet Earth by which to source buyers thanks to the internet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's one way, as these people who are owning homes kind of stepping up. Are there other ways of finding the buyers?
Yeah, I will tell you one way that, for anyone that's in a local market with a real estate club, the local real estate club is full of, real estate investors. They are largely single family landlords. So when you have a property that you want to wholesale, go to that real estate club and put a flyer out. You'll find your buyer most likely in that room. Because those people, I guarantee you, have been having a conversation with themselves about moving up into small apartments because they're burned out self-managing their rental houses. And I'd like to add one other point about this,
sure,
Jordan, is that I want, everyone that's listening, I want you to realize a lot of people, there's one of the myths people have about apartments. People think, well, I need to go do some house deals first, and then I'll, quote, graduate into small apartments. I didn't graduate into small apartments. I just started here. I just decided to. I've had all students of all ages just get started in small apartments. So it's really it's just a choice. And when I eliminate the need for your own money, you don't need to deal with tenants and toilets. You're dealing with management companies. You just need to decide to get started.
So in about 2 minutes we have left, kind of, who is this for? I mean, who can do this? It sounds almost too good to be true in a certain way.
Well, I think there's no one that I can think it's not for, to tell you the truth. I will tell you where many of my clients come from, Jordan, is it's either people that have been doing single family for a while and they want to get bigger return for the same effort they're doing with houses. Or it's people like me, I call them the corporate refugees, who have a job with someone and they're worried about the retirement, or they're worried about funding their kids' college education, and they want to find an extra stream of income on a part-time basis. And they come to us. And with people from all walks of life. I mean, I mentioned I had a 12-year-old. I've had, all the way up people, octogenarians, 80-year-old clients. And they all have the same thing in common. They want more for their life. They want more financial security, and they want freedom of choice, how to choose their time and who to spend their time with. And they see apartments as a vehicle, a very simple vehicle for getting them there on a part-time basis.
Very good. As we close, just give them one more time the free websites where they can get the book and the webinar.
All right. So I'm going to give you my book, How to Make Big Money in Small Apartments, bestseller. I'll give you the book for free. Just ask you to pay $6 and change, shipping and handling. And you can go to this website, yourdealsmydollars.com/free book. yourdealsmydollars.com/free book. And when I send you that book, I'm going to send you some other bonus training information as well. I also have a webinar, How to Replace Your Job Income with Small Apartments. It's a free 60-minute webinar that takes you step by step how to put your plan in place with certainty. And that webinar is at yourdealsmydollars.com/webinar, yourdealsmydollars.com/webinar. And again, it's free.
Thanks so much, Lance. You've been a great guest. I think you've really opened people's eyes as to the possibilities of small apartments. Thanks again for being on the Money Answer Show.
Thank you so much, Jordan. It's been my privilege.
Thanks again. We'll be back next week with another edition of the Money Answer Show. Goodbye for now.
Thank you for joining Jordan Goodman and the Money Answer Show. If you have a question for Jordan, please visit his website at www.moneyanswers.com. And be sure to tune in every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on Voice America Business. See you next week.